Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, guys. I just wondered where Batman is. Came to save us. Whoop, whoop.
Good morning, Elsa. It is time to go into Tuesday. Elsa. I just wanted to say your name correctly. Elsa. 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 Dave Hernandez, I'm fine. It's Thirsty Tuesday? What? Good morning, you magical fools. Thank you. He won that group with us. He's supposed to have dinner with us, remember?
Exactly. He won a dinner with Batman.
Yeah, Dave. With Batman. With Batman.
With
oh my God, it's
Batman and Wimpy again.
Wouldn't it be Bretton?
Hey, Brian.
Brenton. Nope, that's not going to work. This thing gets hot fast. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Croucher. I am the CEO of Delay Cafe. I am working in Cleveland, Ohio, and today is October 26, 2021. I am blessed to not only have the one, the only Ilse with me, but I'm lucky because today she is Ilse with me. But she is literally able to bring us from the other side of the world. She's shark training. We yelled across each other because we found out the earth is flat this morning. So because we're able to now throw a baseball to each other, we're playing catch. Elsa, catch.
Yes. I got it.
It was the extra that I didn't know what was going on. That was great.
I caught it the first 2 times.
You dropped it, right? Oh my gosh. And then Stuart is very right. What did Stuart say? I didn't even see Stuart's comment. The sunrises aren't so good when you see them before sleep. Oh, that's true, Stuart. Brian was texting me this morning. Nate Coffee Beans, nature's way of saying I love you. Brit Brat, she says, it's Thirsty Thursdays. That's why I start, or Tuesdays. That's all I have on that one. Brian says, Guten Morgen. I don't even know what that says.
Guten Morgen, Ilse.
Say it again. Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen, Ilse.
Guten
I can
Morgen.
read German. I can read German.
Since the earth is flat, will someone make me pancakes? No, because if we flip it too hard.
Pancakes for breakfast.
I'm changing in front of you guys. I don't care because I'm already sweating. This thing is hot. Yeah, you know what? Men's nipples are the same as women's nipples. I just can't lactate. Can you milk me, Fokker? Can you milk me? There, I covered them.
Please don't.
It's Titty Tuesday. So for all the ladies out there, tell your man, show me your titties, and men, show the women your titties today. All right? Brett is in the background already showing us his titties. He's like, hello, Brendan. Fernando, Boogie Woogie Woogie. Is Fernando electric today? Boogie Woogie Woogie. That's why I said it. And then you just aren't trying hard enough. To what? To show my. Oh, I could be Batman. I could be Batman.
Anybody could be Batman. He doesn't have any superpowers. He just has a shitload of money and a shitty voice.
Yeah, so that means anybody can be Batman?
I sound like Batman. I mean, and I'm not even trying.
Let me hear your Batman. Go.
This is my Batman voice.
That sounds like you just had a cigarette.
Yes. Isn't that what Batman does?
That's how he gets his voice. He's like, oh.
That's what Batman does. He smokes.
Panda says he has the perfect Batman voice. You know what? That may be. We're going to find out.
Voice note, Panda.
Panda's going to send us a voice message going, I am Panda. No, Ilse does.
You see, he also agrees that I've got the best Batman voice.
Okay, fine. Yesterday, our guest, Bobby, was able to tell us all about the fact that he could do voices, and he did Kermit for us. He did a whole bunch. What is a voice you can do?
Did mine.
He even did Ilse's on the spot. I was like, what? Good morning, all. Good morning, all. I prefer Bat Dad. I agree. Bat Dad is pretty funny. I honestly am with you on that one, Stuart. That's all I got out of that one. And I forgot to send my dad joke. Send it now. I'll read it alive. Send it right away. I will read your dad jokes out loud today, guys. So tell us about it. Batman gets the voice from calling Alfred all the time.
Alfred!
Probably. Alfred! And then at the end of the day, Alfred! That's why he goes out at night. That's why Batman goes out at night. He disappears into the darkness and all that. So, what voice can you do that you have to be? Oh, man, I already see the dad jokes coming in. All right, Brian, I see it. Go ahead. Put the answer and I'll read it. I see it, Brit Brat. So, what is your voice? Elsa, if you could do any impersonation of anybody, what is your impersonation you could do?
Jeez. I think I can talk a little bit like Donald Duck, but I'll have to practice it. But I haven't done it in a while.
I actually, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Just remember, this is the South African Donald Duck. It's not the American one. So he's got an accent, okay?
That was priceless. I'm so sorry. Oh, my God. That was well worth it for me.
What is yours?
See, I don't have Donald Duck. I am no good at Donald Duck. If I was to do an impression of anything, I think Batman's my best one. Other than that, I just make fun of people. But
that's the whole point.
Right? Okay. What is the smartest bear?
I don't know.
A panda.
Isn't that the most condescending bear?
No, it's the most non-racist bear because it's black, white, and Asian.
You see, true. Panda. Panda says it's true, then it's true.
Panda says it's true. Even though it's Pansu, it's Panda to us in America.
Changed it.
Brandon Sylvester, Mafia's hitman. I can sing like some singers, and Mandy can. I've heard Mandy sing. She's wonderful at it. Jaybird says his best impression is Wonder Woman. Wonders what's up with her. She likes ropes and invisible planes. Okay. I'm always at Bob.
Mr. Bobs.
Seymour Bob. Seymour Bob. Seymour Bob.
We have to do all of them, so you have to start at the top.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Hello,
I got the next one. Ready? Delight! Ready?
Mr. Brian. Guten Morgen, Ilse. That is my best German voice.
It is Brian with a Y. Why? Because he's awesome. Next is Brian with an I because he is independent, driving his truck across the country, spending all night up driving, and then needs his coffee with pancakes. Brett is right here. She says, wait. Brett. like a workout with hers. Ready? Stuart Lone Wolf.
Mr. Stewart. Oh. Wait. Today is National Howling at the Moon Day. So please, you have to howl at the moon today. We howl at the moon every day, but today you have to. It's a have to.
I have surround sound with all of that. That was awesome. Dave Hernandez says, I'm alive. You know what?
I'm live.
I'm glad you are live. If that's a good thing, thank you. If it's a bad thing, Dave, please know we love you. And we're sorry about your life. It depends whose life you're living. I'm hoping your own. And you won. So please, Dave, message me at Brandon Croucher or Ilse or the Delight Network so we could schedule a time for a dinner with you. And apparently I sent the message to the wrong Dave because no wonder he never responded.
So there's another Dave pitching up at the date.
Another Dave Hernandez, yes. Because I wrote Dave Hernandez and I forgot. Yeah, so yeah, I sent it to the wrong one apparently, and he never responded. Brian Tracy, Britt Brad. Wait, you ready? Here's a big one. Fernando!
And the crowd
goes. I love it. Ready? Big one. Jaybird. I'm trying to find the next one. Ready? Big one. Big one. Get it out.
Joke for us.
Oh, you told me to go back to the top. I went back to the top.
Don't do everything I say. Jeez.
I failed the test already today. You and Brett both saw that. I'm just gonna do what. All right, read it to me. Go ahead.
What did the big phone say to the little phone?
I don't know. What?
You're too young to be engaged. I hope it's that one because I think that's the answer.
What did the big phone say to the little phone? If you like it, you better put a ring on it.
Ring, ring. Oh, that's a good one. Did you just think of that? Yeah, it is. You're too young to be engaged, but I like your answer.
I'm on fire today with these quick one-liners. Like, we were talking, we learned a very valuable lesson. We'll get into that in a second. Bob Seymour. I just wanted to do it again because we want to see more Bob. See more Bob. See more. Okay, I'm done with that. Oh my God, you sent it to the Dave Hernandez we had on the show. I did. And he apparently didn't want to have lunch with Ilse and I because he never responded. And my heart was broken because I sent him it and was like, it is his loss. It is his loss. I have a funny story though. So you remember how Ilse, that's so rude, right? Thank you, Panda. Remember how last week Britt ended up winning the competition with Brett and she got to get a free assessment done. Okay. Yes. So she sent in her test. She has everything done. She got it back to him. On Friday, I received a message from Britt going, Brett didn't show up for our meeting. He's late. Going off, and I'm like, whoa, Britt, are you okay? And she's like, I gave him 5 minutes. He was late. I sent him an email. We can reschedule. And I'm like, I think something else is going on. Then I get a message 10 minutes later going, apparently it's next Friday, not this Friday. I go, do you feel bad now? She goes, I'm writing Brett an apology letter right now.
Have you ever pitched up somewhere early for a meeting or something, like a day early? Has it ever happened to you?
Me? Been early to a meeting? Have you met me?
A whole day early?
I was not freaking out is how I'm reading this.
Stop putting words in girls' mouths.
Even Brett's in the back going, Brandon's going to say something inappropriate right now. Everybody's waiting for it. So I'm gonna change the subject. So I was so incredibly blessed the other day. A mutual friend gave me some cash to buy some winter clothes. I'm still suffering from sticker shock, but I thank God for his provision. And he is. Honestly, I don't know if anybody sees this, but like, it really really is expensive right now out there. I went grocery shopping with my parents. What is sticker shock? It's when you go in to buy something and you think you're going to pay a few dollars and you end up paying a lot of dollars. And it ends up being like just annoying because that was something that ended up being a big thing because I went shopping with my parents and my dad was like, they usually only spend about like $400 on groceries every couple weeks. And they went out and they spent almost $700 in groceries. And my dad was pissed because he was like, I did not expect to spend this much. And they did not get anything crazy. And it was just like, wow. Like, Dad, I'm sorry. Like, I'll eat most of this for you. Back to work I go. Don't worry, Dad, I got you back. Back to work I go. Have a blessed day. Sherry, it is so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Sherry. We have Mandy Atterbury. That's what she said. Yep, it is. Have a good day, Sherry. Oh, yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, it sucks. And Brett's cousin, she is amazing. She is literally like, she literally chimes in every show she can. She's supportive, and that's just a cousin of Brett's. And he has other family members that show up as well. So, guys, that's just the love and compassion we have at this area, at this company, and that's why we're glad everybody shows up every morning, coming to have a great time with us, laugh, just bring out the positivity. And then Britt Brett says her own dad wouldn't donate to her daughter Lola's school because of inflation. I hate to say that, but the first thing that gets hit when inflation kicks in high is donations. And nonprofits are the first ones that suffer. They're the first ones that get, So, guys, while you're here, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share button. Make your friends and family know how important they are to you by sending them some positivity and love. Hit that share, hit that subscribe. We are at 369 subscribers. That's right. 369. Mr. Brian, we need just one to get to 370, and then we're 30 away. 30 from our goal of 400 by the end of the month. Hit up my mom, though. That's funny. I used to be that kid. So actually, you want to hear a funny story? He said 69. So when I was a kid, did you ever have to sell candy bars or things like that when you were a kid for like your baseball team or for whatever? It was like a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay.
We didn't even have baseball. The sports we've got in school is rugby, tennis, cricket, and then netball or something like that. So
I actually agree. 369. Sent you 2 songs earlier. I will look at those in a little bit. But like I had to sell candy bars for my football team to be able to afford for jerseys. And you had to sell a certain amount and blah, blah, blah. So I am going around the neighborhood, knocking on doors, selling candy bars. Well, there's one house that I get to, and I know they always buy a bunch. And there's 2 cars in the driveway, so someone is home. Okay. So I ring the doorbell, no one answers. I knock again, and no one answers. I'm like, all right. And then I see movement, and I'm like, I see you there, people. Like I saw Britt's comment. It made me laugh. 369, damn, she's fine. But like,
I see the title of a song.
It is. It's from a song. 369, damn, she's fine. Like, yeah. No, I really was selling candy. This was candy bars. This was before I knew how good weed was. So I would go around and I'd knock on doors. Right, thank you. And I was like, I'm knocking on doors. I'm ringing the doorbell. This person's not answering. Now, they know me and I know them. I usually can walk around back because I know who they are. And I'm a kid. So I walk around back and I see the oldest son is in town visiting from his baseball. He got a baseball contract with the New York Yankees. So he's playing in their Division A ball, and he came home to be with his family for the weekend. Apparently his parents weren't home yet, but his girlfriend came over, and I saw way more than I should have as a young kid. Needless to say, when he did come to the door, he bought an awful lot of candy so I wouldn't tell his parents. See, I used to be such a great salesman. Like, why can't I just do that and hold people up? Peeping Brandon. Oh, that's great. Hoping she can suck it to me one more time.
What? Hoping
Yeah.
she can suck it to me one more time.
Little John and the East Side Boys. Hoping she can suck it to me one more time. Don't make me rap. I can't rap. I only rap Eminem.
Let's wrap this up, please.
You're like, I'm done. Click.
Suddenly my internet's going down, you guys.
So, Ilse, we were having a conversation about you and what you got up to yesterday and all that, and what you've been up to this morning. Yeah, I'm making sure I change the subject so I don't rap anymore. Okay, you asked me not to rap, not rapping. I mean, I could tell stories all day about me going around and selling things. But when I was 9 years old, I knocked on a door and a woman came into the door in her lingerie. Needless to say, the dad that was with me and my friend walked up to the door to say hello. It was quite entertaining because I didn't understand why. And get it now. Like, so, no, I only know that song from You Reposted in the Wrong Neighborhood meme. That's true. No, wait, that's the wrong song. Go ahead, read me everything you want.
I want to read you something. So October 26th is the 299th day of the Gregorian calendar. On this day, Jordan and Israel signed a peace treaty. Pan America Airways made the first commercial flight from New York to Paris. And Muhammad Ali boxed for the first time after a hiatus for refusing to comply with the U.S. military draft. Famous October 26 birthdays include Hillary Clinton, and journalist Katie Tur. Today is National Pumpkin Day and National Breadstick Day. And then it's National Day of the Deployed as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So wait. It's National Pumpkin. Sorry, my baseball bat just fell and hit me in the ankle. So it did too. I was trying to move. It was like no more. But wait a minute. It's what days? It's National Pancake Day?
No.
Oh, I was hoping.
Wait, you just hear pancakes. You just heard pancakes and now you want pancakes. It's National Chicken Fried. Okay, I'm going to start here. It's National Chicken Fried Steak Day. And then it's National Day of the Deployed. Our day to say thank you to all the military service serving outside the U.S. It's National Pumpkin Day. And I think that's because Halloween is in a couple of days. Maybe that's why it's National Pumpkin Day. I don't know. And then we've got Worldwide Howl at the Moon Day. Oh, our favorite. Ow.
And then B must be hungry. Yes. Seem to be always hungry. Mandy says, hi, Kevin. CK says, I saw a bunch of CK ones. Excellent morning, Brandon and Ilse. Hello, Delight Heads. Or Delight's Digital Cafe. Have you seen, I'm not going to say it the way I should. Thank you for this comment, but I'm not going to do it the voice that I should. Kevin, love you, buddy. Good to see you. Day of Clinton's deployed breadsticks. Sorry, that one's funny. I met the world champion pumpkin chucker in Wyoming last month. Time out.
Wow.
I'm taking a step back for a second. That's someone we should be interviewing. Like right there. Like because my first question, how do you train? How do you train to be right? And then did you do shot put in high school? Because I mean, that's all I can think would go with that, you know? Hi, Mandy. Ankle biting baseball bats. My new horror B film. That's funny. That is funny. Brandon Croucher is sending out the bat signal this morning, and that's even funny. That is perfect because I had my Batman onesie on to start the day, and I had my Batman shirt on. I didn't even realize that.
I'm telling you, CK just brought that now. She just brought that.
She brought that. That's the joke of the day right there, right now. Can I be in your movie, Mr. Tracy? Okay, just stop howling. Your howling sounds like two cats in an alley fixing to eat a mouse. And yes, Mandy.
Maybe they are.
CK puts a glass. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's funny. So, Brett Gordon was here. And before we dive into Brett Gordon and what he's going to be teaching us in leadership today, we actually were having a pretty healthy debate in the background. And Ilse and I were having different sides, and Brett had a different side. Now, we've had this conversation before, but Brett took it to a whole nother level. He brought up McDonald's, which we'll get into in a second. Why is he talking about McDonald's? You'll find out in a second. And if you have a kid, make sure you don't go through the McDonald's drive-through line anytime soon. Just a little tip, okay? Second is we talked about the earth, and we've had this conversation about being flat, but Brett actually established that he made friends with a guy who he's maybe going into business with who is a complete flat earther. And if I'm saying that wrong, Brett, you could fix it in a second. But think about that. He's now talking to this guy, and this guy is adamantly debating him, not playing devil's advocate, not doing anything else, about being a flat earther. Ilse, before we bring Brett in, what side are you going to take? Are you going to take a flat earth, or are you going to take a round earth? Oh, I don't care. I just want to.
I really do not care, because if it's flat, my life is still going to be the same. And if it's round, my life is still going to be the same. It's got absolutely nothing. It's got no impact on my life. So I really don't care. I'll go with the one that try and convince me. Let's see who can convince me which side to go.
I got nothing. Fernando says he's tired and he's going back to bed, or we're boring him. One of these two. Give me a clue.
I think it's the last one.
Fine. Oh, wait, that's not what he wants. Sorry, my bad.
Take it off, baby.
No, but only Brett. What? He chucked the pumpkin 4,830 feet.
Gee whiz. How many meters is that? How much? How many?
Too many. He threw it almost a mile, because a mile's 5,280 feet. So,
okay, but how big is the pumpkin? Because a tiny pumpkin, I would be able to fling quite far. So we need to know how big the pumpkin is to know how far he flung.
That's funny. That is funny. That is funny right there. He sounds like he chucked the pumpkin. Sounds like a euphemism.
Smashing Pumpkins. That's a band.
It is a band. They're a good band. I used to listen to them all the time. So,
I love Smashing Pumpkins.
Without further ado, I'm going to bring Mr. Brett Gordon in, because I'm very curious about this McDonald's thing and why we should not be taking our kids. Oh, he's rolling his eyes at me in the background. This is going to be so much fun, guys. I'll be right back with Brett.
Good morning, everybody. Coming to you from South Dakota again.
Sorry, I'm receiving text messages that made me laugh. Oh, that's funny. And they know who they are. We're going to give Ilse the big screen because of those eyes. Look at them. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Oh, we growling at each other.
All right. Brett, first things first, why are we not taking kids through a McDonald's drive-through line anymore?
This was one that kind of, I couldn't believe that I heard this, but I'm sure that I'm one of the last people not to hear this. I had a conversation with somebody that I really respect from a spiritual perspective. She's amazing in being able to feel out the energies of buildings, of people, of being able to kind of really get a good feel for what is going to be prominent in your life and others' lives, things along those lines. And we here in Hot Springs, they got this amazing mineral waters that I think I've talked about before, and there was a whole bunch of people in the waters, and we were talking, and we were talking about eating healthy, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I still go to McDonald's, and she's like, you go to McDonald's? I was like, yeah, I know, maybe it's not the greatest food for your health, but there's times that I go there. And she's like, come over here. So I go over next to her. She's like, I don't want everybody else to hear this because I don't want to freak them out. And she's like, did you know that McDonald's hamburgers are ground up children? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah.
Really?
Didn't you know those people that do the adrenochrome? Then there's like 800,000 kids a year that go missing, and they're in McDonald's hamburgers. And I was like,
in the kiddies' meals. Is that
God.
what kiddies'
I was like,
meals?
wait a second. What is this? I said, this is not what I mean by kids' meals.
Like, time out. Before we go too far, none of the views or opinions on this are expressed by the Delight Network. We are not saying this is something that is happening. We are saying that
This is what we heard.
This is what's being said out there. And Brett came to me this morning, and I love when CK writes certain things. I just picture going, what a wackadoodle. What a wackadoodle. Delicious children. But like, think about that. Like, there's people out there that are actually thinking that McDonald's is grinding up kids that are missing and then turning them into your kids' Happy Meals. Like, that's a very interesting thing. And that's what led Brett and I to go into the conversation about the flat earth. Ilse's got something. Go, girl. Go, girl.
Ilse just wants to say is that if that is what we have to tell you what is in McDonald's burger so you don't eat that shit, then that is what goes. There's children in it. Don't eat it. McDonald's is horrible. Why do you want to eat fast food? Healthy food is just better. McDonald's tastes shit. Well, our McDonald's tastes shit. I don't know how your guys taste, but ours taste shit. Children aren't nice meat.
So I agree, but I think it's also the ingraining into the American society because we are in a fast-paced culture. We're always trying to be busy. We're always trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're always doing something to keep busy. And the thing is, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Steak and Shake, they all became a part of that because of the fact that it's fast food. You drive through the drive-through. Your kids could eat it quick. Taco Bell is the shit. Thank you, Fernando. It also gives you the shit. And so with that, I look at this as saying it shows you a product of who we are. It shows you what we've been built into because I didn't eat McDonald's for all of 2020 and most of 2021. I may have had an Egg McMuffin recently, but that's all I'm going to say. The price of it has gone up a whole $1.50, and that was enough for me not to want to go back, like for real. And I'm like, the food is it's not. It's processed to look the same on every single thing. Think about if you go to a farm, okay, and they start hatching chickens and you're getting fresh eggs. You're going to get an egg that's big. You're going to get an egg that's small. You're going to get an egg that's brown. You're going to get an egg that's white. But the same thing is it all tastes the same. And when you're making those eggs, where McDonald's, we've become accustomed to them all being the exact same. And that's what we think is what we're supposed to do while being in a hurry. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, I mean, that was, if you go way back into McDonald's history, McDonald's was really one of the first truly fast foods where you could go in, you could order, you could have your bag of food within 30 seconds and be gone. Back when I was a kid, that was the whole thing. And if you remember, they had the slides where they would just be making burgers and stuff in the background and sliding them down because they were coming off the shelf so fast. And it was consistent. So McDonald's was all about fast food consistently. And as they spread around the country and then they spread around the world, it was the same thing. You knew that if you went to a McDonald's, now granted, there's a few countries where McDonald's doesn't serve, like you go to India, McDonald's is not going to serve hamburger. They're not going to serve beef. But in general, McDonald's is a very consistent taste regardless of where you go.
Right.
And that's what they're known for. So, was it the best food? No. When McDonald's really started to try to go into the health food, that's when they actually lost a lot of people. when they started to do the adult meals, the adult burgers and stuff that all just really failed. And why is that? Because people don't want that. People expect a certain thing from McDonald's, and that's what they should just focus on. Now, is it great food? No, it's not. Is it great for you? No, it's not. Is it consistent? Yes, it is.
Mandy,
Wimpy
do you
burgers.
guys have Wimpys there? Do you guys
I don't know
have
what a Wimpy. I was going to ask you guys this. What is a Wimpy burger?
It's a Wimpy burger. Wimpy is like a franchise in South Africa, but they make the best burgers and they make the best breakfast. It's more like a breakfast kind of thing, but their burgers and the relish that they put on it's insane. It's one of the best burgers that I'll rather eat that than the McDonald's. But I've got a question before
Brian is absolutely right with what he said. McDonald's is really a real estate company. McDonald's owns some of the best real estate around the world. That's what they buy. Their true value is in the real estate that they own. It's amazing.
I want to ask you guys something. Is it really like, do you guys eat a lot of takeaways? Is it cheaper to live off fast food, or is it cheaper to buy groceries like we do and then cook from scratch every day?
I think, in general, a lot of people don't really even know how to cook that well. So they're going to go with, if they're not going to go with McDonald's or buying fast food that's that they can eat right away, they're going to buy processed foods that they can put in the microwave or in the oven, and it's already pre-cooked, so they're not cooking it anyhow. So I don't know how much better quality you're actually getting than you are when you go out and buy like a McDonald's.
Brian says it right here, but they buy the land, build the building, and lease it to a franchisee. 100%. But Ilse's question about food and if it's actually like, is it cheaper and all this? It actually is cheaper to buy your food, create a meal, like prep for the week, than going to these things. But when we're told we have to keep busy, we're trying to keep up with everything else going on. You're looking at your phone through social media to all of a sudden you're running out the door because you're running late to something and you're hungry. It's quick and easy for people to just grab and go. And a lot of us get caught up into that cycle and not even realizing it. It's when you pull yourself out of that cycle and you're making your own food, you take a minute to look up a YouTube video about food and all that and what you'd be wanting to eat, because that's a completely different mindset. It really is. It's slowing yourself down to be able to benefit yourself. It's slowing yourself down to get the most out of it. Then charge franchisees royalties. The corporation makes the profit. And you're right. And it's ridiculous what they have to sign up for. You have to have like $2 million in assets before you're able to even apply for a McDonald's franchise. But this also got us into the conversation with Brett about flat Earth. And Brett got pretty interested. Now, I stick with the fact we're spinning at such a fast pace. It's like a quarter being flipped. It goes, and it looks like it's a circle, but it's really a flat Earth. Now, whether I believe that or not is up to me. Honestly, I'm not going to give my way on this just because it's going to be more fun to watch the reactions. Brett thinks that the Earth is round, which I can tell him, bing, with a quarter and watch it spin, and you're going to see it looks round. Ilse is under the impression that the Earth is a donut.
And I live in the hole.
What?
Well said.
Well, that really makes you holy. She's our holy woman.
That's funny. Let's be real though. A pizza is better than a burger.
Okay, but if Earth is flat, on which side do we live then? Well, on the top side or the bottom side?
That's a good question, because that one didn't ever come up. It was always what's on the top side, and in his description of the flat Earth, there was nothing about spinning. In fact, he basically discounted spinning whatsoever. So it was just a flat Earth that we live on. And you can tell that because when you look on a piece of paper and they show you the world, it's flat. And I was like, okay,
Wait, what? That was their philosophy behind it?
No. There was more behind it, but they're always making the representation of looking at it in 2 dimensions. And basically, it's just horizontal, it's flat. There's no such thing as gravity. It's only density and buoyancy. And I was like, holy shit. I had never heard this before. So I never even thought about trying to address this kind of thing because I had not heard this concept before. And I had heard of flat earthers before, but I never really explored what the beliefs were and how they came to their conclusions. But it was amazing how adamant he got. And he's like, I've spent 10 years researching this. I know for a fact that this is it. And there's all this, all this science is bullshit. And it's really about being flat earth because they just don't want you to know this. They want to control you. They want to tell you that, the moon is 250,000 miles away and then we landed on the moon, and that's bullshit, that we never did that. And there's no, I'm like, okay. I basically, now granted that he had been drinking, but he was very adamant about his beliefs there. And I was like, okay, I'm not even going to challenge it because first of all, that discussion would probably go absolutely nowhere when you're drunk. I'm not sure it would go anywhere when he's sober. But what it brought out in terms of leadership is that you don't necessarily have to believe the same things in order to be able to work together and for a leader to be able to lead. As long as those things don't directly impact what you're doing together or what you're trying to address when you're in the same environment. Mm-hmm. I know now that's not something I'm going to bring up. Not that I ever would have probably in a normal conversation, but that's not something I would bring up with him. So
I got a question.
Yeah.
You said that the guys said that they want to control us. That's why they tell us the earth is round. How does knowing the earth is round control people?
Well, because, that is what the establishment, that's what science is. So when they start talking in generalities like that, it's really to try to discredit authorities. And it ties back to some of the QAnon stuff. And QAnon is, much more recent discussion than the flat earthers. The flat earthers have been around forever. But there's some of that's tied into the conspiracy theories and all of, if you talk to them about some other things, you'll hear more about probably this, McDonald's thing and adrenochrome, which was another concept I had a hard time swallowing, if you want to say. It was really interesting. But, here in South Dakota, maybe it's more prevalent because there's a lot of people out here that have moved out here to get away from the establishment. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I think that I will run into more of that out here, or at least also because the population here is smaller, that you're going to run into it more here than maybe when you're in a bigger city surrounded by people that and you don't even get into those discussions anyhow.
Right. So basically what we've come up with is the earth is the shape of a Q, and that there's a big hole in the middle that Brian wants to live in, but Ilse lives in the hole. A good strong drink and an oil painting can look like just about anything. Like, I don't think the earth is completely flat, but there's parts of it that are. Good morrow, everybody. Good morrow.
It's interesting because I was talking to somebody about that, and actually in kind of the discussion that he had about the flat earth is, it's like, I know it's flat because if you look straight ahead, you can see that everything is flat. And then there was like something around, and he used this analogy like, well, if you look at a ball. Oh, somebody else did. They said, if the ball is big enough, then when you're looking out over a ball, that part that you can see looks flat. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what the Earth is. This giant ball that you most of the time can't see beyond X amount of distance, and it looks flat. But I was like, holy cow. And then I told her, he's like, when you shoot a gun, you don't take into consideration the curvature of the Earth. I was like, true. But if you shoot a howitzer, which is, one of the big army kind of guns, you do have to take into consideration the curvature of the Earth when you're.
That's a kind of sniper gun.
Well, it's actually kind of like a cannon,
Okay.
giant. So it shoots the shell 23 to 40 miles away. At that point in time, you actually do take into consideration the curvature of Earth. Otherwise, you won't hit your target. So there was some really interesting conversations, but I kind of steered away from it. And finally, he kind of walked away because he knew that, our conversation was, I wasn't engaging. Let me put it that way. I wasn't engaging him.
So what you're saying,
I really didn't know what to say.
So Elsa, why is the Earth a donut?
I actually know a song that they sing. Now the song's name is "They Ran Out of Space on the CD" or something like that. I'm gonna send it to you, and it starts with "What if the world was made of donuts?" I just thought of that when you said that. It's an awesome song. It's actually a shitty song, but I'll send it to you. But they talk about donuts.
Well, Elsa was asking us, because she made a good point. If the kids are what McDonald's is making their food from, okay, how many burgers do you actually get from a child? Right? I think the Earth is the shape of a bee. You know what? I'm going to go with that just because I'm B.
Brandon and Brett.
Right? Brandon, Brett, Britt, buttheads.
BBs.
Oh, biggies, Biggie Smalls. I could keep giving you B's all day. But she asked that question. She goes, well, what happens about teenagers? And all that. And I had to explain to her the teenagers are the French fries because they have to be all salty. Thank you.
That was true.
After that, I'm going to walk away. My good joke of the day.
Yeah, but personally, I don't think anybody puts children meat in anything. I think that's ridiculous. That's something. It's stupid. I can believe dog meat and horse meat because we've had situations like that when they did that. But I don't think. Okay, there is sick people on this earth, so I won't put it past anybody to eat children. But I don't think a chain store will buy kids and make burgers out of it. I mean, it's easier to
buy. They're not buying them; they're kidnapping them.
Yes, but there's less shit in buying beef and making burgers from that than buying children and making burgers from that. I mean, and all they want to do is make burgers. So why the hell will you want to just take a random child and make a burger from it? It's ridiculous.
As I said to you earlier, it depends on how plump the child is. It might be better. It's like a good. Brett's face.
Feed them and make them plump with the McDonald's burgers so they can be McDonald's burgers.
Kind of like they do with cows and chickens and hormones.
About right.
It's how you make it. It's how you make it the best tasting burger possible.
Yeah, well, just don't eat a kid's meal. That's it.
It's a kid. So where do the toys come from then?
Killed. When they take them and then they just share their toys again with it. They recycle the kids and the toys. Jeez, who comes up with this shit?
Well, thank you. All of this.
I like how you phrase that
stuff. It's crazy, and it goes together because then these same people are talking about how almost all of the men actors in Hollywood I think it's all of the men actors in Hollywood are actually transgender thing, and they were born women and made into men, or I don't know. And these are all consistent a lot within this group of people. They have these conspiracy theories that they latch onto. And I think that a big part of it is that people are looking for alternatives to the shit that's going on in our political systems, the stuff that we're being fed, which we know that the history that we're being fed in school oftentimes is bullshit. It's wrong. And it's written by those who had the power at the time, and it's been consistently taught in school even to date. And those things are, I think, where a lot of these conspiracy theorists really start to latch onto, because they're looking for an alternative. They're looking for something different. They're looking for certainty in a different arena that they can latch onto and then be a part of that community. And that's how you end up with what a lot of these conspiracy theorists, not that, I think it's very good that we actually question what we're taught and the things around us. As I've always said, you got to question your BS, the BS of your BS, the bullshit of your belief system. But
Yes.
Sometimes I think
you should also go in a different direction. And you should be questioning everything, though. And that's not me saying, like, just challenge the authority. There's times where, like, sitting in your seat when you're on an airplane, that's an essential thing to follow, so you're not bouncing all over and landing on the girl next to you. Well, maybe that's not so bad. But at the same point, don't do it.
Scenario, it might be able to work.
It might work on that one, not the best one. Or while driving, you're riding on a bus. Yes, people stand, but if the bus driver slams on the brakes, you're going to go flying. Right? It's the kid being buckled up in the back. Why do you want your kid buckled up? Because if you slam on the brakes or something happens, you don't want your kid going through the windshield and becoming a McDonald's hamburger. But I say all that to go back to Ilse's face was so priceless there. That was over there. But I digress from that, and I say that the thing is, the people are looking for acceptance, like Brett said, but we're so busy, it keeps a distraction of both. And then you're not able to actually get anywhere, because everything is the truth until evidence to the contrary is produced. Very well said, and going with, like, I agree with you on that. They also claim, majority of Hollywood is ruled by aliens, and the celebrities are of an elite alien race disguised as humans and have a terrestrial plot to take over the universe. LOL. And the thing is, I would be okay with that, because at least then I get to go into space and travel, even if it's servant for them and all that. And as Brian's Illuminati lizard people, blah, 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 blah. And then you have Hollywood kids. Fuck it. Sorry, I just have to do that every time I read it. But, like, in all honesty on this, it's one of these topics that there are people that are going to get very sensitive with it. There are people who are going to feel this in a different way. And I think Brett walking away from this is a sign of leadership. I think Brett walking away from not indulging into this conversation, but hearing him out for his own entertainment at certain points, but at the same time, question everything. I see Britt Brett made a comment back here that I want to point out, that some guy told her yesterday that Lake Erie, the lake right next to me, has gold in it from the French and Spanish War. It's not the French and Spanish War. But there is sunken ships in Lake Erie. There's cannons. They keep finding things in Lake Erie. Lake Erie is the deepest lake of all the lakes as well, of all the natural lakes. And that's the thing, is people didn't think there was actually stuff in there, and they keep finding things. Now, do I know where the gold is? No, but have they found gold there? Yes. Are they transporting kids to McDonald's factories instead of cows? Probably most likely not, because somebody would have spilled that somewhere. Think about TikTok. That's all I have to say. People at TikTok nowadays, the people who work at McDonald's, they're literally videoing themselves like, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we do. And they're calling out their companies. You're telling me if they were cooking a kid, they wouldn't be able to be like, oh, look at this on TikTok. Some teenager that's working the drive-thru. Like, come on. Like, they're not going to do that. Go ahead, Brett.
But I think that, like, what I was saying is the one thing that we don't understand as leaders is we don't understand what the belief systems are of all of the people that we have in our companies, that we have all of our friends. In fact, we don't understand all of their belief systems. And yet we we can get along, but oftentimes when you find out a specific thing about somebody's belief system, they can go from being able to get along with them all the time and having been your friend to starting to drive that wedge in between you and starting to divide you. And I think that that's something, that is actively happening in the general population anyhow, where they're trying to find these different things. They're creating these things like conspiracy theories and so forth to be able to drive a wedge between humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you really start to gain. The people that want to be in control can be in control better when the populations are divided in terms of their belief of being one people or one humanity.
I just want to say something to everybody.
Lake Erie is the third. Lake Erie is the third biggest lake. It goes Lake Superior, Lake Huron, then Lake Erie, then Michigan, Ontario. Googled it. Boom. And it's from the government. It's from...
well, then it must be a lie.
But that's of the 5 Great Lakes. There's bigger lakes in the world.
Oh, yeah. I just did the United States. Just being honest. Yeah. I did say deepest, and I just corrected myself. I said I was wrong. So...
I got something to say. I want to ask something, actually. People that stop talking to someone else because they've got a different belief system. I think if I die, the earth's still going to be flat or round. If you die, the earth is still going to be flat or round. If I die, McDonald's is still going to use whatever meat. It's got nothing to do, and it's got no impact on your life. I think the faster people realize that nothing on the outside has an impact on your life, because the day you close your eyes and your life is over, none of that shit matters. There's no right, there's no wrong, because everything is everything and nothing is nothing. It's as easy as that. No, it determines what happens now while you're alive, but it determines nothing when you die. So it will make no difference in your life if Earth is flat or round. Absolutely nothing.
Unless your friends fall off the edge.
Exactly, but then well, most of them already do. But that's for mental issues.
Yeah, if they haven't fallen off the edge, they went into the deep end, right?
They can't be my friends then.
Well, hold on. If we're going to do that, how come the Bermuda Triangle then doesn't have more of a thing? Because they were able to debunk that. The more that we had technology come out with satellites and tracking systems and all that, the Bermuda Triangle became a obsolete thing. Kevin sent me a message. Kevin says in Canada, burgers are made from plant-based products now. And I don't know much about that, but that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's a more all over thing or just a certain area, but that is an interesting thing. And Kevin, I wanted to thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, what's interesting is that a lot of these plant-based burgers that they're serving in these restaurants, if you really look at what they're made of, they're actually not probably any healthier than they are coming out of the meat of an animal. There's a lot of junk in a lot of those veggie burgers, but because they say they're veggie burgers, people think that they're better for your health. So
just cook your own food. It's healthier, because then you know what goes in it. Stop buying burgers. Make food, lazies.
Brian says I have a lot of surface area, and then Brett says I have a lot of surface area that my daughter says I just have not grown into yet. That's funny. That's true. Actually, Shauna, well played. She says they have not debunked everything about the triangle yet. That's true, but there have been a lot that's come out about it. I cannot say, but I would love to go there. If you want the ultra processed food, eat a veggie burger. Really? I did not know that. In my experience, those who follow popular beliefs will listen to others. Those who believe the conspiracy and alternative theories won't give your beliefs airtime. And you know what the interesting thing is? If you're interested in believing McDonald's is selling kids and that all these other things are happening, I have a wonderful plot of land down in Florida for sale right now. It's on a great price. I'll be happy to rent it out to you guys and sell it at a cheap price. Don't worry about a thing. It's right on the swamp. And Shauna says she does too. I think it would be a fun trip. We'll sell you the plot of land as we're passing through Florida. So, Brett, you have been so much fun today. Ilse is going to be diving into reading our bio of our guest today, which, by the way, I'm going to put this link on here for everybody at the beginning. This is our guest. His name is Victor. And I'm saying it like that just because I feel like it needs to be said like Victor. It's Victor. You know, you roll the R, you know? But I'm putting his link in for his Linktree bio. Why? Because you will see on this that there is actually a test you can do. And this test is about your imposter syndrome strength quiz. Now, I'm only going to point that out because the three of us have all taken this, and I would love for you guys to be able to go take it as well. I have my scores up already. Needless to say, I am not a good test taker. I may have failed the test, okay? So we'll leave it there. But Ilse, can you tell us more about our guest, and then we'll do a quick commercial break and have Victor on with us.
Today, I also want to say it like Victor Mosconi. I think Victor is Italian. I think so.
I think so.
Just with that name and
Victor
the
Mosconi.
that's my first question. Victor has had a lifelong experience with imposter syndrome and has learned how to recognize it, reframe his thoughts, and make it work for him. He is a PhD candidate in psychology with a master's. Is it master's in psychology? Of leadership development and coaching, and a MA in industrial.
Master of Arts.
Master of Arts in Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Former history, social science middle school teacher, and he is the founder of Imposter Solution Coaching. He uses his experience, knowledge, training, and coaching skills to help women, leaders, and entrepreneurs overcome their self-doubt and imposter thoughts to develop the mindset to achieve the goals in life they desire.
Interesting. We'll be right back after a word from this handsome son of a bitch.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it most.
And we're back with Victor Mosconi. Victor, it is so good to meet you. Ilse has the first question out the back. Go.
Are you Italian?
Oh, completely, yes.
So you make the best pasta in the world.
Excellent.
Yes.
She declares that. That's not like any type of like saying because you're Italian or anything. But, you know, so I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you were a middle school teacher. And yes. Ilse and I, when we were studying and getting to know a little bit more about you and all that, I asked her that, do you think he quit being a middle school teacher because middle schoolers are like little spawns of Satan, like just are starting to come up and all that? And she was like, that's so true. Like, I've been asked if I could have any job in the world I wouldn't want, what would it be? And I said a middle school teacher. And I just, those kids are at that age where they're in between like so many things. So what happened that did you just have enough of them? You couldn't push them down the stairs? Like, what made you decide to stop being a middle school teacher?
Well, first off, our school was all on one level. We were all ground level. So there wasn't no stairs to really worry about. But really, it was just, honestly, it was me just needing and wanting a change and go in a new direction on things that I had been learning. Middle school, you're absolutely right, though. It's a world all on its own. because the kids are totally going through this whole transition. You've got hormones going, you've got these new changes of how much they're learning. At the same time, they're struggling to find their own identity, trying to figure out, well, yes, I can do this on my own. I don't want your help, but then they really do need your help. And it's every day you come in, they're going, okay, what's going to happen today? Because even if you have a lesson plan set up, yeah, you may have to throw it out the window and go, okay, we need to refocus over here because the class is just, their focus is elsewhere. And I just, I can't shove my lesson through when they're not going to connect with it. So you're definitely always on your toes. You're trying to figure stuff out and mold with what's going on with them for the most part. But it was fun though. I will say that. It was. And I didn't leave because I was tired of them. I just knew that it was time for me to go in a new direction.
I promise that was a joke. I promise.
No, I know. But I don't want any people go, how do you do that? How can you even handle that?
Oh, I could not do it. Like, anyway. Sorry, Elsa. Go ahead, sweetie.
My question also comes from Brandon. I just thought of that now. Usually when you mock test, especially in history, you get some funny question or some funny answers on the questions when they take tests. Can you remember one funny answer that a kid gave you that you were just done when you read the answer on a question?
No, I can't remember any exact answer but I do remember reading things and I would get an answer back where they would actually answer the question kind of, but have a completely outside of the box thought, design, focus on it where I'm like, well, no, that's not right. But you did really good about trying to formulate that whole idea. Like, I'm not going to give you full credit, but you're getting really good marks for that because I realized, they didn't get it totally, but the way they were thinking, how they pulled the whole concept together, I'm like, okay, you put a lot of effort into that. You weren't just trying to like throw that off. So it's like, all right, points to you. You do good for that one.
I like that. I really.
Yeah, you're done. You asked your question. It's my turn. Mute yourself. I'm just kidding, Elsa.
Let me just mute myself.
Where are you getting your PhD from? And then on top of that, because that's going to be a quick answer, Elsa, we just love to make people laugh and have a good time. Can you explain imposter syndrome to people?
Sure. Okay. So I'm going through Walden University, which is an online university. They've been around for over 50 years. And just the whole structure of the university program, it just really works well for, if you're, let's say, if you are working, you can work into your schedules. There's more flexibility with it. And you don't have to worry about the travel time of actually going to a brick and mortar school. So it's been working really well. The professors have been great. I've really enjoyed the classes that I've taken. And now that I'm working on my dissertation. So anyways, no, I don't get paid by them. Didn't even think about that until just now. Okay. So imposter syndrome, there's two different types, but the basic aspect is where you are constantly feeling like you're not good enough, where you're looking for approval and appreciation from other people or other things. And any achievements you've had is basically, you'll look at it where it's all due to luck, chance, just by, due to other people, but it wasn't due to your own qualities, your own effort. And because of that, you're constantly struggling to find something that will prove your worth because you don't see that worth and you don't believe that that value in yourself. And it's a constant struggle. Now, people will actually, studies have come out that about 70% of the population in general will experience this. Most of them, though, will experience it when they're starting a new project, a new job, a new opportunity, because you get into that and you're like, whoa, should I really be here? Am I the right person for this? I don't really know everything that's going on. But most of the time, after about several weeks to a couple months period, you start kind of settling into it and going, okay, wait, I'm getting the hang of this. I know what I'm doing now. I've still got more things to learn, but you know what? I think I can get this done. I think I can do this. And any fear of not being the right person, not being good enough, not feeling you have the worth, it starts to fade away. And that's because you're gaining that confidence. You're like, okay, I'm getting the hang. I'm good now. Okay, good. Until, of course, the next project or new opportunity comes up. Those that have a lifelong experience feel this every day. Doesn't matter what they're doing. Doesn't matter if they've been in their job for 10 years. They're constantly feeling like, okay, I'm going to be found out. Somebody's going to realize that I have been faking this. I have been just putting up a front. I'm not really good at this. And somebody's going to come to me and fire me. They're going to point it out to me. They're going to tell me, yeah, you know what? We always realized you shouldn't be here. And we've just been letting you slide, but now it's time to go. Even when they get into a new job, a new opportunity, a promotion, whatever it might be, starting up a business, there's that constant thought of like, okay, I'm doing this. I got this, but I don't think I'm the right person. Why did they give this job to me? I shouldn't be the one who's here. And I just know the next time my boss comes through that door, they're coming in not to tell me anything good, but they're going to go, yeah, you know what? We've made a mistake and you got to go. And it's always in your back of your head. Even when a new person comes in, a new hire comes in, you're not thinking, okay, I got this. I have more experience. I know what I'm doing. You see that new person and you're thinking, oh, they're already better than I am. I mean, they have new knowledge. They've got new opportunities. They've got stuff I don't have. They're going to come in. They're going to do a better job than I am. And that's it. It's over for me. So it's because you don't have that self-worth. You don't see your own qualities. You don't have that self-appreciation of who you are, what you can do. You see faults in everything else that you do. And you're constantly looking for approval from everybody and everything else. And the difficulty is that you're never going to get it.
I read that women imposter syndrome hits women harder than it hits men, or more women have that. Why is it? Why is it that more women have it than men?
Okay, good question. And I'm going to answer the second part first. Based on a lot of studies over the past several years, they're noticing that both women and men pretty much experience imposter syndrome equally. However, yes, it does seem to impact and have a stronger effect on women than on men. And they're still doing studies to figure things out. In some cases, they think men kind of hold back more. They will try to suppress it more, or due to other opportunities in different ways that it doesn't have that same intensity, but it's still very impactful to them. Don't discount that at all. Women, on the other hand, because it could be from their upbringing, it could be cultural, it could be based on business. Even if they're really good at what they're doing, the society as a whole still looks negatively towards women, even in leadership aspects. And it's like, well, yeah, you can do it, but really, can you, what did I read just recently? I read an article just recently where they were talking, and some of men, and yeah, I'm using that directly, but they already had this mindset that, well, okay, but she's just not going to do as good of a job. And without even knowing whether she could or couldn't, they already had that in their mindset. So there's a lot of preset bias that women are constantly fighting against. But when you have it day after day and it's being fed into you, it's only strengthening that imposter syndrome, because no matter how strong you are, if you keep hearing negativity or feeling negativity, whether it's direct or indirect, it starts to affect you, because then you start doubting yourself little by little. It's like, oh, wait, I kind of blew it on this one little project a little. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. And okay, I got to really watch it. And over time it can build, because then you start paying attention more to your flaws, or you start second guessing yourself. And then you start losing some of that confidence. You start losing some of that self-worth. And it's just something that will continue to grow, because you're just constantly being bombarded by different aspects of bias, discrimination, negativity, stigma, and it can have a huge impact.
So actually, I saw a question I wanted to have asked back here, and now I can't find it. Doesn't that sound like fun? What is the difference between acknowledging some of the outlying factors of your success and imposter syndrome?
So if you're referring to like acknowledging some of the outlying factors, meaning...
I would assume, all right, so the way I read this is like taking the accomplishments, the outlying factors that you have and who you are and all that. I'm using me behind me because I can't say things for others. And how do I know that how do you know it's not an imposter syndrome? So
okay, good.
Me winning awards to then all of a sudden turning around and getting college degrees and all these things, to then being like, well, I had a group of people helping me in my master's, and I had a tutor and stuff. So
yep, perfect. And that's something that we do often too, because we'll look at the accomplishment itself. And then we'll just kind of go, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I got that degree. I got that award. We did really well, but other people were helping me. I just got lucky. The professor maybe liked me. My boss was just being kind to me. What you have to do is you have to actually stop and go, okay, wait. What did I do? What did I put into that to achieve that? If it's a degree, we'll start with that one. Look back and go, okay, well, yeah, okay, I was the one that wrote up all the different, assignments. I wrote up the paper. I did the research. I put in hours of time for it. Same thing for an award. If you look at the award, it's like, okay, well, what's the award for? And why did they give it to me? Well, what did I do for that? And you have to go back and literally think, okay, I was the one that, was running around getting this stuff done. I was the one talking to the different people. I was the one pulling information together. And it's not in a selfish way. That's just it. People will look at it going, oh, well, you're just being self-centered. You're being selfish about it. But it's really kind of helping you to recognize the amount of effort you've put into getting these accomplishments and achieving it, as opposed to just saying, okay, I just got lucky. It's like, no, you're the one that did it. You put in the countless hours. You put in the effort of researching it, talking to people, writing these things down. So that's a great way to start really recognizing your accomplishments for what you put into them.
Does imposter syndrome fall under mental illness, or does it not fall under mental illness?
No, it does not. That's good.
Literally, one of my 2 questions written, you punk.
So when this was first discovered, or identified, I should put it that way, it was actually called imposter phenomenon. And that's pretty much the title that a lot of research goes by, imposter phenomenon, based on the fact that it occurs because of your experiences. It's occurred from past experiences, current experiences. So it's a phenomenon. That's how it's going through it. A syndrome, of course, designates a disorder or a diagnosis, which would connect into some sort of a mental problem. Let's put it that way. But imposter syndrome is not diagnosable in that fashion. It's not part of the medical, mental problems, illnesses. It's definitely just based on a mindset, a negative or toxic mindset that's created based on experiences. I've actually been trying to research where the term syndrome first started popping up, but I haven't come up with it yet. I mean, it came up, I don't know, easily 20 years ago at some point. And for some reason, I think it was a little more catchy and people just kind of caught it and ran with it. But that's probably a part of the problem too, because your question is great, because people look at it like, oh, okay, it's a mental problem. Okay, well, if you have imposter syndrome, do you want to tell people you have a mental problem? Because that's how it's going to look. That's how they see it. And they're like, I don't want people to know that I've got a mental problem. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to try to get help. I'm not going to talk about this. It's just me. I just got to get over it. So they'll suppress it, as opposed to thinking, okay, look, it's a mindset. It's based on experiences. I'm not sure what occurred or why I'm thinking this way, but let me see what I can do to change my mindset and, figure out how else I can work on the struggles that I've got.
With that, because I want to extend on that question a little bit, is because I'm very open about my mental illness. I have bipolar 2 disorder, and I use that as a platform to help people who are suffering, especially with today's society and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things I wrote down, because I wrote down mental illness and factors of it, but the thing I also wrote down is, if you're someone who's a people pleaser or always looking at the other shoe to fall, wouldn't that be like, yeah, that's a good one, Fernando. Ilse is going to ask that one. So, but wouldn't you say if you grew up and you're a people pleaser or you're always waiting for the other shoe to fall, would that be something that you would see as imposter syndrome, or is it just something that maybe you have to learn how to break inside yourself?
It could be, but again, it's the thing with imposter syndrome is that it's not just one thing. And you'd have to look at it and go, okay, so I'm a people pleaser, for instance. That definitely could be connected to imposter syndrome, but you have to understand, okay, well, why am I a people pleaser? Is it because I want them to be happy and I'm just always that kind of a person who wants to give and make other people happy? Or is it I'm a people pleaser because I want somebody to like me? I want somebody to approve of me. I want to know that I am actually seeing my worth through them. And if that's the case, then you got to take it to that next step and go, okay, So am I doing that in anything else in my life? It's like when I go for a new job, when I go for a new opportunity, why am I doing it? Is it because I want to do it for me because, hey, I got this, I know I can do this? Or is it because I'm thinking if I get this new job, I will actually attain that status of being good enough. I'll be worthy in everybody else's eyes, which then, of course, now you've got two different factors showing you're doing it for the basically attention or the approval of other people. That would be, okay, I got an issue with imposter syndrome going on here, so I got to work on that.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Fernando's got a very good question. He says, can you get to a point where you can overcome this syndrome? And how?
Yes.
Do you have any tips that you can give to our viewers on if they realize after they've taken your test, because we've asked everybody to take your test, how can they get a lower score on that?
Okay, yes, it's something you can definitely work to overcome. It's not permanent in that essence. Yes, if you're struggling with imposter syndrome or imposter phenomenon, if you've been struggling for it for most of your life, it's going to stay with you. It's because it's this mindset that you've built up and you've created, but you can learn how to manage it. You can learn how to control it and bring it down. One of the ways is to start finding that value within yourself. Okay. One, don't compare yourself to other people. I know social media is so easy to do because you can go on Instagram and see everybody else and go, oh man, I'm not like that. Why am I not like that? How come they're better than I am? Okay. That's the first thing you've got to do is you have to stop doing that. Doesn't mean don't go on social media, but don't compare yourself. Find out what your values are. Start just going through and determining, well, okay, what are my qualities? What am I good at? What do I do well? What do I enjoy? And again, with the accomplishments, go through and say, okay, so with these accomplishments that I've had, why did I get them? What did I put into them? What did I actually put of myself into it? And what did I get out of it as well? What did it help me to do? That's going to help you to start acknowledging more of who you are, what your qualities, what your character is, which is going to help you to start pulling away from that approval need of everybody else. The next thing too with that would be to go through and understand that you're making the choices for yourself. And when things come up, decide, okay, I'm going to do this. And you actually have to start thinking, you got to reflect on this. Okay, wait, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for approval or from other people? Or am I doing it because I know I want this for my life? And it kind of connects into your values. You kind of have to start going through and knowing what are your actual values for your own life? What is important to you? What do you really want to pull into your life and get out of your life? And so those are some of the things you can start to do, but you have to kind of, it's not a one-time thing. Let's put it that way. It's not something you can do once and go, ooh, sweet, I'm done. I'm totally over this. It's a matter of doing it and then redoing it. And even if you're like, hey, I'm feeling good. I know I'm me. I'm being authentically me. I like who I am. At some point, something in your life's going to click. Those thoughts are going to come back and you have to pause and go, okay, wait. All right, let me go back to this. It's like, I know these thoughts are here, acknowledging them, but I know I'm good for who I am. I know I'm putting my effort in. I know I'm having these qualities.
So actually, a lot of people have been taking your test. And what's interesting is I know Ilse got a 25. I know that Shauna Jones got one. Britt Bratt got that. I got a 32. And I know Brian was willing to put his 38 up here. And I guess what I'm asking is, like, I'll even share mine. If you don't, unless you're going to tell me, don't do that, Brandon. That's you got such a bad score. You failed. You're
not at all.
You're an imposter. Don't do it. Okay, good. Thank God.
Nope.
Imposter.
So, this was my score. And the thing with my score that made it interesting, I'll do this so that way we can see it easier.
Love it.
Don't you like that? This is a new feature. I had to show it off this morning. Just like, look, cool. I can do new things. But like it says, I experience frequent imposter thoughts. And this is something that as I took the test, I actually took it live with Brett and Ilse. And I was like there, and I only did that to make the connection so that way they could make fun of me and we do it on air. But like, it explains that I experience imposter thoughts and feelings more frequently than most. With people that are taking this, like taking your test and being able to do these things, a lot of people on our network are taking it. And I want to understand for the ones like Brian and I, who got a little bit of a higher score. Like I'm a 32, he's a 38. How do we work on this? How can we push through so I'm not letting these fraud or imposter thoughts come over and overtake me, especially in the position I've put myself in as a leader, because I want to be able to be the best leader I can. And I think this score might have been much worse a couple months ago.
Okay. Okay. So that's something else to take into consideration too. First off, is realize that there could be days where you could take it and you could maybe have gotten 15, 20, just using that because you're having a really good day and everything is great. Now, you take it and it's 32 for whatever reason. So here's the thing then is figure out, okay, well, why? What kind of thoughts are going through your head? What are you currently experiencing? What are you going through in your life? What new challenges, developments are occurring? So this way you can kind of reflect back on that and then start putting the pieces together. It's like, okay, well, I'm starting up a new business opportunity. I'm meeting some new people for some new ventures. So, okay, yeah, I'm talking to people that I've never talked about before. They've got some different avenues. I may be feeling like they're going to know more than me, or they may look down on me because I'm not at their same level. And that's with using that just as an example, then you've got to pause and go, okay, no, wait, look at myself. It's like, where am I coming from? What am I bringing to this? What are my skills? And it's going to be a battle because you're going to still feel it. Nervousness, totally normal. But also go in realizing, you know what? I can hold my own. I may not have all the answers and I may make mistakes, but I know what I'm talking about and I know I can do this.
I wanted to ask you a question now. I see on your Instagram, you're talking about that authentically imperfect. Mm-hmm. What is that? Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So, okay, first off, it's a podcast I'm developing. I'm hoping to have it out sometime this next month, hoping. Second, though, the idea behind it is the first part is living authentically. So you are you every day, just how you interact with people through your own life by basically believing within yourself and being yourself, whether it's being yourself where you're not like everybody else. It's like, oh, okay, the rest of the people in my family, always feel like I'm the outsider. I don't fit in. That's okay. Be yourself. Enjoy it. Using this as an example recently, I was talking to somebody and they were telling me music wise, this is something really simple, something small basically, but they always felt like I can't really listen to this music when I'm with friends or when they talk about stuff because I'm not like them. I don't listen to the same stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, but don't hide who you are. Even if they don't listen to the same thing, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy what you enjoy. Keep enjoying it. Do you, be you, and make sure it's always part of who you are. You don't want to hide that. That's part of imposter syndrome. You're always looking to put up a mask, hide yourself because you don't want people to see you for who you are because you're afraid you're not good enough. Imperfectly means, first off, nobody's perfect. With imposter syndrome, you're always striving for perfection because if you hit perfection, I will be good enough. I have to make everything perfect. There can't be any errors or mistakes. And if there are, I'm not good enough. Well, nothing's perfect. You have to get that into your head. And it's not a bad thing. It's just understanding its reality. So you can look at your work, look at what you achieve, and you don't look at the negatives. It's like, okay, for my master's degree, for writing up my thesis. I wrote up my thesis. I thought it was really good, did the whole thing, submitted it. I got it back. It was approved. I, earned my master's, but the score was a little lower than I expected it to be when I did it. I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Like, why? What did I do wrong? And I looked at it and I completely forgot to write the intro. I thought, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, did it take away from earning my degree? No. Do I still know what I'm talking about in regards to my master's and understand it? Yes. But I also learned to double check all my work before I turn anything in to make sure I have all the sections that I need. So being imperfect is not a negative. It's not looking at it like, oh my God, I can't tell anybody about this because they're going to see me as I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect. No, it's just appreciating yourself all the way through. You make mistakes, learn from them. You get ready for the morning and your hair doesn't look the way you want it to. don't stress. Don't go like, oh no, it's not perfect. Nope. Okay. It's just the way it turned out today. You know what? I can live with it. I'm okay with it. I got to go. And it's okay. It's about being comfortable with who you are and appreciating every aspect of yourself and knowing that it's not a competition. It's not a comparison factor. And it's all about just embracing you.
I love that. I love the way you're saying that. You have a lot more people that are taking it as we're doing this. I love how people are just they have the minimizing of the show so they can still listen and take the test in the background. That's what I love. So this is actually Dave. I love that you put this comment. Please know I respect the hell out of this, buddy. So Dave got a 35 and he wrote, gosh, like, so is this like golf? The lower the score, the better. How do you, because like I make the joke about I failed and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Fernando makes the joke about like, oh, I don't need to be perfect because I'm just good. And that's just how I picture him saying it to me. He had pandas perfectly imperfect, all of this. Oh, I'm sorry, Mama Gotti. She goes, I must have done something wrong. I did the test, did my email, got an email. Where do I see my score? At the bottom, when you finish taking the test, you get like see my results, and it takes you to, it opens up a new tab for you and should open it up because that's how I got mine.
Right.
And I know that's yeah.
Nice.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, like these are things that I'm curious about with the score is like with me, like, and Mandy got a 22. Good job, Mandy. Like if I got like a 9, is that like I'm like the best like person with no imposter whatsoever? Or how do you know whether like should I be going up or down? Should I be like, you get what I'm asking now?
No, I totally get it. So the lowest you can get, there's only 10 questions. The lowest you could get really would be 10. And it's just because I had to structure it that way. So yes, the aspect is the lower the score, the better means you have less imposter thoughts. Okay, the higher the score does not mean, oh my gosh, you have a problem. What it's just showing you or bringing to light, if you weren't aware, is that even just at this moment, for instance, you might be having a lot of imposter thoughts, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of concern with whatever's going on in your life. Again, it's not a negative. It doesn't mean anything bad about you. But what you can do is then reflect back on that and try to figure out, okay, well, okay, I have this, let's say, higher score. Why? What is going on in my life? And understand, is there a reason for these thoughts? Is there something going on that you may not be aware of? And again, it could be just because of what's going on currently. It doesn't mean, oh my gosh, my life is this way all the time. It could be really, oh yeah, I'm starting a new job next week. And I've got some new projects that I've got working out this week. And then there's something coming up next month that's stressing me out. So you're feeling a lot of insecurities, some doubt. You're not certain of things that are all kind of swirling and pulling this higher score together. At the same time, maybe it's something you've been kind of suppressing in a way where you haven't wanted to admit it. So again, think about it going, okay, well, wait, do I have these thoughts often? Or is it just right now? And is it something like, oh yeah, I kind of remember feeling this way in my job on a kind of a regular basis, or in the past on a more everyday kind of thing where it's kind of normal, common? Okay, well, then you might want to start just kind of going through and figuring out, okay, well, why am I thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? And going through to understand what's creating these thoughts and this mindset. And yes, of course, you can always then take it to the next step, depending on how strong it is for you, depending on how detrimental it could be in your life, and definitely seeing, a coach, a therapist, anything like that. Yes, me. But yeah, those are just different things you definitely can do. But always don't take the score for just the score and like go, oh my gosh, I've got a 38. What am I going to do? My life's over. No, it's not. Look at it and go, okay, so what's going on in my life currently? What do I have to do? Start kind of reflecting back and kind of questioning it, as you were talking about earlier, questioning.
That comes to my question. I actually wrote it down. I said, how did you realize that you had imposter syndrome? Where was the turning point when you went, okay, I'm not feeling normal. I've got all these issues, and how did you get to a point to know that it was imposter syndrome and not something else?
Yeah, no, that's great. I was going through a lot in my life where these imposter thoughts, which I didn't know that that's what they were at the time, were just getting stronger and stronger. I didn't like who I was. I felt like I couldn't do anything right. I felt that my life was never going to change. And honestly, things were kind of shifting to a point where my marriage was ending. But it was this whole swirl of just, even at work, I was constantly felt like I had to hide who I was. I had to put up a face. I had to, anything that I'm working on, I could be working on at the time, with teaching a lesson plan. And I was like, yeah, but these other teachers would make it so much better than I would. I'm like, I'm just not good enough at this. But finally, it was just getting heavier and heavier on me, where I kept feeling this and sensing this, where at some point, something just kind of clicked in my head thinking, is this what life is supposed to be? Is this how life is supposed to be? Because this is not what I thought life was going to be like, that I would always have these horrible doubts. I wouldn't feel like I'm good, and I wouldn't feel like I'd actually go anywhere in my life. So because of that, and because I had hit basically a point of depression, really, I mean, it got that bad. I ended up going to see a therapist. Through talking to the therapist, I started understanding that it was a connection of needing approval from others based on things from my childhood, and that it had just kind of grown and expanded, which I didn't realize. But it was something that had a really strong impact. And she started helping me to go through and start seeing appreciation for myself. With that, and because of my own, degrees and research, I started kind of looking up other stuff. I was like, that's kind of who I am. I like to research up, but really understand what it's about and what it's connected to. So as I start going through it, I'm starting to use some of the keywords that we were talking about, and up pops imposter syndrome. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of that. Didn't know enough about it. Started looking into it more, and I realized, oh my gosh, everything that my therapist and I have been talking about connects directly into this. And as I'm reading more and understanding it and growing my own knowledge base, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. And it's like, I didn't realize that. It's like, okay, I see the connections now. I understand this. And as I started to really understand how it was affecting me, how detrimental it had been to me, and how I created this toxic mindset, I also started putting pieces together going, okay, wait, if I feel this way and I'm actually a pretty good person and I'm able to achieve things, and yet I feel this way and I feel like I can't do anything right, there's got to be other people out there. And I'm like, okay, it's like, and that's kind of started to set my mind off on the path of like, how can I help other people?
So that was actually going to be my question: is have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome? And I knew there had to be a connection there. But I was on your website, and you have the toxic part of it. It is, I want to quote this correctly from your website, the toxic, as I lost it because I hit a button trying to respond, toxic imposter. And then on the opposite side of it, you have like growing into when you grow from your imposter phenom. What would be the first step for somebody? Because like I look at my 32 and I say, okay, I can get better. I still have somewhat of a imposter mindset at times. What would be my first step at saying to myself, fuck you, Brandon, you don't, keep working forward? Sorry, we allowed everybody one F word for the show, and that's I haven't used mine today, so you get it.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so first thing I would do in your case, in that situation, is, when do these imposter thoughts pop up? Is it every day? Is it on a regular basis? Is it certain situations, or when you're around certain people?
Honestly, it varies. It's because it does. Like certain people I'll be around, and all of a sudden that comes in, and I question myself. It's also certain people I look up to. So I would look at it like growing up from the kid side. My parents. I sometimes when their advice comes at me, it triggers the imposter syndrome in me. Like I'm not doing something right, even if I know I am. So like it varies on who it is.
Okay, so let's use that one for instance, on the parents, because I know what that's like. So what you can do in that situation, it's going to pop up. Okay, so oh my gosh, I'm not feeling like I'm good enough, because here it comes again. Pause. Okay, even if it's after the fact, because maybe you can't like pause your thinking because of the interaction at that time, and the imposter thoughts are going. But when you first can, pause that thought and then reflect back and go, okay, wait, why am I feeling this way? Like, and go very specific, based on like what comment, what was said that made me, that I allowed myself to feel this way. So you can then go, okay, so it's based on what I'm going to use in that respect, he said to me in, about this topic. Okay, then analyze it. Okay, you have to go through this step. That's the part of it. You have to go, okay, but is that true what he's saying? And more than likely, you're going to go, well, no, because I know I'm doing this. I know I'm taking care of that. I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. But I also know I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm working on this, and I'm doing the right thing for me. But you have to work through that process, because if you just try to like throw something up there and block it, it's just going to keep not only just smacking you, but it will continue to grow. So you have to be able to start breaking it down, which over time will be easier, because then eventually you might be able to come into, let's say, the interaction with that person and know that, okay, I'm going in knowing I'm good enough. I know we're going to talk about this topic, but I also know I'm doing everything I can. So whatever they say, that's their opinion. That's their perspective without knowing what I'm actually going through. They may think they know, but are they living your life? Brandon, are they living your life? Are they going through all the things that you're going through on a daily basis?
No.
Okay.
Not even close.
You have to keep that in mind and realize, yeah, but I'm the one who's doing it. I'm the one who's experiencing it. And I'm the one who's actually working through this. So I know I'm doing the best job I can. And that's where you start pulling that self-appreciation in too, because you start realizing, yeah, I'm doing the best I can with this. And I know that I'm going to make this work somehow. And I know they love me because they're my parents, but they're not the ones living my life.
Correct. And that's been fun, because I had to move back home because I broke up. I went through a divorce and all these other things and all that too. And the depression that kicks in really is heavy at times, and building yourself back up through that sometimes is difficult. But having a community like we're doing, it's building up one another. It's seeing people be able to break those barriers in themselves, and seeing the emails that come in of people like saying like, hey, seeing the difference in what you're doing for yourself has really made me believe in myself. And that's all I strive to do with my company, is instill that self-belief, because so much of us is just getting beaten up left and right in life, and so many opinions come in. So I love what you're doing there, and you have explained this really well. And I see Ilse getting ready to ask a question, and I'm stealing her spotlight. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. I was actually reading Panda's comment here, and I just have to put it on here and read it to the guys. It says, sometimes I wonder if for some people it would work best to lean into the imposter syndrome instead of fighting it. Like how you are brilliantly tricking everyone into thinking you are something that you are not, and how lucky you are to be lucky you are to live a life without earning it, etc. And then he says here at the bottom, he says, kind of feeling like an over-the-top fiction character, a master of disguise. And I think that is very important, because before I had a score of 25, I also had a very, very high score. And I know that because I know that for a very long time in my life, when I started to make decisions for myself, and make decisions for me, and things started happening, I would sit back and think, do I really deserve all these things happening to me? Because of outside forces always making you feel that if you're authentically yourself, you are not in line with what people expect from you. And it makes it difficult. So I just love this discussion. I want to ask you a question, but this is, I don't know if it's a little bit personal, and if it is, I apologize. But what failure in your life happened that when you look back now, something amazing happened from it that you did not expect, but when it happened, you went like, oh, my life is over?
The first thing that pops into my head, honestly, was the failure, and honestly, that's the only way I can say the wording, would be the failure of my marriage, and seeing how it completely broke down, where, even going through marriage therapy, we couldn't get back on the same page. We could not connect. We couldn't find that balance of agreement of like, yes, let's like pull this together and go in this direction. It was the realization that no, we're going in two different directions. And because at that same time, I was still struggling with a lot of imposter syndrome, I kept going, what did I do wrong? Like, I mean, not so much what did I do wrong, but it was like, how am I like the one that kind of messes everything up? And I felt like everything at that point was just this giant ball of disaster, basically, where, you know, it's like I had to move out of the house, you know, it was tough on my daughter. And even though at the time, yes, I had a job, I didn't know where I was going to go in my life. I felt like I was just in this cycle of just a giant storm. And I just was like, it was just, you know, the worst, because there were so many emotions, so many thoughts of negativity and of self-blame. But taking that, learning from that, learning more about myself, it's resulted in just amazing things. I've gained new friends from it. I'm starting my, you know, my coaching practice. I've been, you know, creating my website, the quiz. I'm able to go on a podcast. I'm starting to create a podcast. I'm working on my PhD now. It's like, there's so many things that even if they were in the back of my head beforehand, it was like, no, that's never going to happen. No, I'm never going to be able to do that. No, it's just not. And knowing that now it's like all pulling together, and I'm seeing things like, yes, like the website right there. I'm seeing that out there, and it's like, whoa, it's happening. I'm pulling this and I'm creating this. And that was the other part too, where I can finally start appreciating myself with it and going, I've been the one creating it. I'm the one doing it. I'm the one pulling it together. And it's been so, I don't know, empowering, uplifting. It's been great just knowing that I've got some amazing things that are coming up that I'm creating, and I'm helping others, and I can't wait to help more. And yeah, so it's one of those where, you know, you got to keep working with it.
I don't know which way I want to go. I have multiple things running through my head, because I want to first off say thank you. You opened up and were vulnerable for all of us. Like, you really have been talking about divorce is tough, especially because I know that feeling. You feel like you're the one that messed up, even if they did something. And it's one of those things. So for you to be able to take that and turn it into such an accomplishment, I hope you're proud of yourself, Victor, because like, I'm proud of you, and that's just who I am. I really think that's an accomplishment that many people, they need to be praised for when they do get through those tough times. And you not only did it. Now, where are you located now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Southern California.
Oh, whereabouts in Southern California?
Have you ever heard of Mission Viejo? Okay, have you ever heard of Irvine? Well, okay,
I've heard of Irvine.
Okay, so it's near Irvine and near like Laguna Beach, Newport Beach area. It's kind of like in the middle of those. Let's put it that way.
Nice. Are you from California originally?
Yes, actually. Yeah. I started out in Los Angeles, and I've just slowly worked my way south, down through the Los Angeles County and into South Orange County. So I just kind of keep shifting down.
That's awesome. I just had to ask because I was like, I know you're not like in Canada, that you haven't said a boot once. So I knew that was true. So with everything you've been giving us today, people could actually sign up to receive a free class or a free session after they take the test. And you've been very open about everything like this. What can people expect from that free class, and where can we send people to catch your podcast to learn more about this and help themselves keep growing and all that?
Okay, so for the podcast on my website, there's a page for the podcast. So once it's totally up and active, I mean, there's information there right now that's kind of giving some like coming soon info, but once it's up and active, more information will go there. Plus I'll be putting things on my social medias just so everybody kind of knows. So they could definitely follow my website, or they could also follow me on Instagram to make it easier that way. So that's not a problem. And I'll always be updating that. Beyond that, they could definitely email me through my website, and I'll be able to, respond back. We can, set things up from that point. And if, they want something more from there, they definitely can. Yes, with my website, even though I talked about, or sorry, not the website, sorry, the podcast, when I was talking about being authentic and being authentically imperfect, there's a lot that's going to tie into imposter syndrome as well. There's going to be a lot that connects into different aspects on how you can overcome different things with imposter syndrome, how imposter syndrome connects into different types of industries. So they'll be able to learn a lot from there too. And yes, always, and again, they could definitely message me through Instagram, through my website, we can set up definitely a conversation and go from there.
Do you get different types of imposter syndrome, or is there just one type? Do you get different types?
No, it's hard to say on that one. There's different strengths of it. There'll be different areas where you might actually have a higher strength of imposter syndrome when you're more just in your working environment. But when you're at home, you're totally chill. It never really comes up. So it could be in different environments, or depending on different people is how it can affect you. But for the most part, in general, there's this, when you really feel it, there's usually a pretty constant aspect of having your self-doubt, feeling the need for approval from others, feeling like you're never good enough. Those all like intertwine with each other. So it kind of carries through. Now, again, like I said before, yes, there's the difference aspect on where you may just get it when you're in like new jobs, new positions, or you might be somebody who has a lifelong experience of it. And so you'll have different intensities at that point too.
Okay.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed with everything? Because like I say that because I sometimes feel overwhelmed myself.
Yes.
Like it's like I don't want to come across as an imposter. I want to be able to know I'm aligned in providing good shit. And that sounded not at all like I wanted it out of my head, but it's what I meant. I want you to have the good shit, like
only the quality.
Only the quality. But like Victor, how do you feel? Like all of a sudden you're overwhelmed and you've been through hell and back. How can you stop everything around you from overwhelming you and letting your life tower fall?
So yes, totally. It does happen. Yes, I have felt it. I wish I could say, no, that part's all done and gone. I never worry about that anymore. But no, it still happens. I mean, with everything that I'm working on, developing, people that I interact with, there are definite times where it gets overwhelming. It could be just the amount of stuff that is hitting on that day. It could be the number of thoughts that I'm processing at that moment. It could be the fact that I've got a lot of challenges. I've got a lot of roadblocks. I've got some small failures, and it all adds up where those imposter thoughts come back. And I'm going, okay, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. What if this doesn't work? What if, how will everybody else see me if this doesn't work? Okay. Total imposter syndrome aspects. And at that point, what I have to do is stop myself and go, you know what? I need a break. I need to get out of what I'm doing, and I need to clear my head, because if I keep sitting here, because that's the other part too, is that I could be sitting here working on something, and then in the back of my head, it's like, okay, but I also have to get that done. And then I need to get that done. And how am I going to get that done? Maybe I should work on this instead. And so that's part of the overwhelming, where it's like everything's rolling, where I will literally just stop myself and go, okay, you know what? I need a break. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to drive down to the beach and take a walk down there. So I give myself distance and give me a moment to clear my head. And most of the time it works, because it gives me a chance to kind of sometimes just totally clear everything out, listening to some music and just blanking out from it. Sometimes it's actually worked in the aspect that I'm doing it, and all of a sudden, all these little pieces are coming together. I'm like, okay, no, I was working on this. You know what? For, let's say, website, just using some different things for an example. Okay, I know I have to work on these 2 updates with the website, but I don't need to do that yet. So I can put that one off until Thursday. Okay, I've got to work on my PhD, so I need to research some articles. So you know what? When I get back, I'm going to read those 2 articles, take notes on it, and then I will work on the blog post next, because that's easy. I've already got half of that done. I can add some stuff to it. I know what I want to add. So it helps me to clear my head, and I can start kind of following the dots as to what I want to do. There have been times the amount of feeling overwhelmed, I'll get down to the beach. Let's say I don't take a walk, and all of a sudden it's like the waves in the ocean seem to decide to crash on me too. And I'm just even overwhelmed more. Anxiety hits, my heart rate starts to just go up. And I'm like, okay, this is not working. This is totally not working. So I recognize it. I'm like, okay, I think I'm done walking, and I'm going to go for a drive, and I'm going to go get a coffee drink, because again, I need something to change my focus. I need something to change my mind. My mindset, basically, to help me just kind of like break these thoughts. And then it's like, okay, everything kind of starts to calm down again, and I get a little clarity. But that's all you can do, is when I get overwhelmed, instead of staying within it, because it just seems like there's all these pieces all around me, I have to step away, give myself a few moments to kind of clear my head, and then take it one step at a time. It happens. I'm sure it happens to everybody at some point.
I'm like, you
Just
asked
when I
me a
say
question.
something and that was actually going to be my question. If someone is maybe in a situation where they can literally feel, okay, I'm not feeling all my all self, and I just need to focus, what quick tips do you have for somebody just to get them out of that feeling so they can function with the thing that they need to do? Because I think when you're going to when you do something like public speaking and that kind of thing, it might hit you at a stage where you don't want to feel like that. What quick tips do you maybe have for somebody that they can just quickly get themselves out of that feeling?
Pick one thing to focus on. Let's say there's several different projects or things that you need to work on. We'll use that one for the moment. And again, you're like, well, should I start on this, A, or should I work on B? But I know I need to get C done too, and then D. Okay, so do it one of 2 ways. Either pick one thing and start with it, which might be difficult, I know, but it's a matter of like, you know what? I'm just going to pick A, and I'll start with that one. Or if you realize, okay, yeah, but I think this one's a little bit more important, figure out maybe what's the most important or most time sensitive, and then jump into that. And then this way, everything else will start to kind of filter out, and you'll start to figure it out. But you won't feel like, okay, I've got all these different things. Use something that's going to help you to go, okay, wait, what's the most important or what's the most time sensitive? Okay, I have to start with that one. Boom, I'll do that. If they're all equally important, it happens, it does. Then you just have to go, I'm going to start with A. I'll just start with that one. And it doesn't matter about the others. You're not discarding them. You're not saying they're less important, because you're just starting with this one, and then you'll get to the next one. And it helps because, again, your then focus is on that one. You're not thinking about the others, because now you've made that conscious decision. I'm going to work on A. Okay, cool. I got it. Now I can focus on A, because that's what I'm going to do. In regards to like speaking, what I've learned with that is that sometimes, again, yeah, your head's just racing because you have all these different thoughts. So what I'll do is I'll go, okay, focus on what I know. What do I know? It's like, what are we talking about today? What do I know on the content? But not even overthink it. Just kind of hit some different points. So again, it's helping me to kind of like take my mind from going out here and refocus. So it's like, okay, this is what I want to talk about or to do with the public speaking. And usually if it's, let's say, in conversation with somebody else, a lot of that anxiety and fear will drop away once you start talking with them, because now they're asking questions. And sometimes we're overwhelmed because, am I forgetting something? Do I know something? Is there something that they're going to ask me that I can't think of? But as soon as that conversation hits, everything you already know, you've learned, you've experienced, it's there, and it just starts flowing. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, I got this.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much. We're gonna, this was an amazing show. I think you have helped our viewers so much. Everybody is just giving you praises. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
You have helped me, cause and I mean Sika as well. She says you rock. We are so grateful for you that you joined us and shared your wisdom with us. We really appreciate it. How we end the show. Sorry, my English is on pay as you go, so sometimes it just goes out and I mix it with some Afrikaans. I apologize. uh, how we end the show is we usually just give our viewers a little bit of knowledge and a boost to start the day, and have a great day and everything. So Brandon can go first today. And then I will go after you, and then you can, and then Brett, and then Mr. Victor can go last and just impart your knowledge onto our people. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. So, guys, wow, what excuse me, what a great episode. Truth be told, you guys, this was absolutely one of my favorites. It's going into my top 50 very quickly. Where in the top 50, I don't know yet. But the truth is, you guys, this was one where we all suffer from imposter syndrome at times. Whether you believe it or not, there's a time when you're feeling you're not living up to your expectations, or you're just caring too much what other people say. Realize that you can always take a moment to stop, reset, and find the way to get back on track, because that imposter is not you. So I say this because I want you to believe in yourself, because I believe in you. All right, guys, get out there today, change the world, and do like Mandy Atterbury says, and fuck what other people think of you. You know you better than anyone else. Thank you, guys.
Guys, today was amazing. And hello. today was a very, very good show. I think because I can relate with everything, and I think a lot of us can relate with what Victor taught us. One thing that I have learned, and something that I have used, I always try and tell myself, you can't be an imposter if you're the only one living your own life. You can't impose on your own life, because you create your own life. And if you go in and you know that you have created it, know that you've created it from a place of love for yourself, and believe in yourself. I've got this love relationship with the universe. It always gives me the most beautiful and amazing messages that just resonates. So I want to show you this. It says, examine your eyesight. And it says, take your focus off how you see, or how others see you. Cease being obsessed with the need to impress your friends and your foes. Keep your concern on the vision you see in the mirror. Don't allow the approval of others to obstruct the view of you. You are the most important person in your life. If you are not happy, you cannot make anybody around you happy. So your own happiness comes first. And you can't impose on a life if you make decisions to make yourself happy. Doesn't matter how difficult the decision is. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and know that you are brilliant in your own way. We are all brilliant in our own way. Go out and rule the world, fuckers. I said my fuck.
All right, so mine is, look, live your life authentically. Be you. You have amazing qualities and characteristics about yourself that others just don't have and need. And if you're afraid that the people that you're around right now won't appreciate you, won't love you, and won't connect with you, well, then there may not be the right people for you. If you are truly yourself, authentically yourself the whole way through, the right people will connect with you. They're going to embrace your qualities. They're going to love who you are. You are going to be so supported by them, and they're going to love your support. So don't ever be fearful or want to hide who you are. Totally embrace your qualities, your character, let them shine, and really just put them out there to the universe, to everywhere else where you can have such an amazing impact.
That was very well said. Guys,
That was amazing.
What a great episode. Victor, I'm going to be downloading this right away and putting it on Spotify for everybody. I will send you a link.
Cool.
Guys, do us a favor. So many great comments. Don't hog this for yourself. get out there and share this with people. I know we're at 369. Damn, she fine. Help us get past 400 because we just want to make sure we keep growing and showing that love and positivity out there. Without you guys, we're nothing. So send this message to somebody who you know needs it today. Guys, thank you so much. Love you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.